If you're going to lose a national championship game, it might as well be to the eventual national champion. We'll talk about Virginia Tech's crazy ride during the NCAA championship season. We'll also talk about Miami, who just did it so close to the end, came up short, and how UConn just may take this whole thing away. But beyond that, is a little trash talk good or not? Let's talk about it on today's show.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. Happy April. We are in the thick of the spring season, talking through some of our women's basketball, men's basketball wrap-ups as we close out the basketball portion of our broadcast. But don't be afraid, because we have plenty of portal party action happening for you before it's all said and done. But today's episode is just giving a nod to Miami and Virginia Tech for some really great seasons. Absolute pleasure watching them all year. Only the ACC had 2 teams in the Final Four. Okay, something to put tip our cap to, especially because people still doubting the conference's capabilities. But Kenton Gibbs here, ready to rock and roll and talk through these matchups and a little bit of trash talking as we will. Now, Kenton, sometimes we rib each other, we go back and forth, we do a little 1-2 punch, but it seems to be that trash talking is trying to be removed from the game. And I'm just over here saying, what happened? What happened to a little jab, but a little fun when it's all said and done?
I'll say this. Is this the most that people have talked about women's basketball in quite some time?
Period.
I mean, if you're not going to lower the rims and have players doing 360s on each other, let people talk their talk. What is the problem? What is the problem? And me personally, and I'm saying this as a guy who never was the big trash talker and all that.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. But at the end of the day, and the words of Cam Newton, if you want somebody to not taunt you, not mock you, not do the things, stop them. They said they didn't want Cam dancing in the end zone. He said, okay, don't let me get in the end zone.
Right. You
And
don't
guess
want me
what?
to do dabs. You don't want me to do all the things. Don't let me do it. Don't want me to do Superman on my chest. Don't let me do it. 100%. And that seems to be the case. Talking about Caitlin Clark, talking about Angel Reese, LSU players. There wasn't much taunting during the LSU Virginia Tech game. Maybe they thought that one was a gimme, but it seemed as if the whole trash out conversation has really reared its ugly head, especially all the racial undertones that we're starting to see and just trying to make sure it's even. If we're going to rib one, we got to, get the other and make it even. But we know that's not how life goes, because life is not quite that fair. But I think if we look at the LSU team, dogs from start to finish, having a very up and down season in terms of being really good, but in terms of like emotion and theatrics and all the things, it certainly was must-see TV. And then you throw it in the case of playing a team like Virginia Tech, who, for all intents and purposes, like Kenny Brooks, not too controversial. Elizabeth Kitley is pretty much a genius, pretty low-key. Georgia Amore doing her thing. Kayla King doing her thing. Like, it wasn't a whole lot of drama. But they were really good, very consistent, did what they had to do. First Final Four appearance in program history, first ACC title in program history. Like, they were just a team that played game. They don't need all the extra pomp and circumstance. They just played the game. That's why I really was excited for them, because at the end of the day, they just give you the fundamentals. They knock down the shots. They do what they needed to do to get by. But it wasn't the case when you're talking about a team like LSU. It just seemed to be the better team that day.
At the end of the day, you win some, you lose some. That was a game in which it was extremely hard fought. Both teams gave all that they had. And I'll say this, the beginning and ending for Virginia Tech in terms of their shooting in this game was what probably did them in. Like, they struggled to shoot to start the game off.
Yeah.
And they were in the game early because they played excellent lights out defense.
Yeah.
But after a while, you've got to realize they've got scholarship players over there too.
Yeah.
And if you keep struggling to hit on your end, they're eventually going to start to click and hit theirs. And toward the end of the game, it just seemed like whatever Virginia Tech did, it just was not working offensively. couldn't throw a rock in the ocean from the beach a little bit. So
if you live by the 3, you die by the 3. And I felt like I was getting Caleb Love flashbacks only because I would say to myself, if the 3 is not working, I get it. Sometimes you throw off your shot, throw off the angle, whatever, just got to get in your rhythm. But it wasn't working for a good bit. And they kept going to it. They kept pulling it. And I'm like, after a while, run the play. Let's execute. But at the same time, they didn't let Elizabeth Kitley earn too much in the paint. But still, the threes were gross.
Watching Elizabeth Kitley play, it just reminded me of the old phrase, if you're out there thinking, you're out there stinking. There were too many times where she got the ball and instead of immediately attacking, because they were doubling her on the catch. Now, there's only 2 things that you can do with that type of situation.
Yeah.
If you're getting doubled on the catch, you can know where the rotation are going to come from. If you're an exceptional mind, if you just know the game at that high of a level, you know where the rotation is going to be. And since they're doubling you, somebody's going to be open. You know where the open player is, and you hit them immediately off a darn near touch pass. Or you have to attack right away. You cannot take the ball, bring it down, look around, think to yourself, what's going on? You're the biggest player on the court.
Come on.
The minute that you bring the ball down, you're putting it at risk of that guard that's coming to double, stripping it away from you. You're putting it at risk of a tie-up. You're putting it at risk of having whatever happen. And now when you want to go up, now you're going up against 2 players or 1.5 players instead of 1 player. Had you just caught it and said, you know what? Drop step over the right shoulder. That's what I'm doing.
Come on.
You know what? I'm going to do this spin to the middle. And if that don't work, then I'm going to kick it out. But either way, I'm going right away. She just didn't have that sense of urgency, and that hurt the Virginia Tech offense ultimately.
Coach Kenton with a K, I'm trying to tell you. I was like, girl, if you don't body these girls and stop playing with them, like, what is you doing? Study long, study wrong. Why are you dribbling and trying to reposition your body? Because you are allowing these girls to get their feet set, and it's terrible for you every single time.
Yeah. Again, I think that one of the best players ever. Everybody talks about Tim Duncan and calls him a big fundamental and all that. What was the greatest fundamental you had? How often did Tim Duncan bring the ball down?
Okay.
Like, if he was not dribbling, he wasn't bringing the ball down. That thing was going to stay up here because he knows I'm either the tallest or at worst 3rd tallest, 4th tallest player on the court. Why would I bring the ball to where the short guys are when I can keep it up here where you got to do some work to get to it? You know what I mean?
Right. So, and she's not like she's a strong girl. I think she has absolutely everything she needed to do to be successful in the paint, and she just wasn't doing it. She was expecting a foul call. I'm like, you're not getting it in the national quarterfinal. You're not getting it in the semifinals. No. You're not getting those calls, my girl. You have got to pretty much earn your keep. And I think when you look at the dynamics, as I mentioned before, of LSU and Virginia Tech, it's I'd rather have the fire, the feisty, the girls who are really grabbing for every rebound, every player, making you uncomfortable, than the ones who probably articulately sound like super smart, probably the game back and front, like front and back, and have all of the X's and O's in front of them. But when it comes to like just execution, playing with heart, and just doing it, give me the Tigers all day. Give me that kind of team all day.
I mean, I don't think that the Tigers are head and shoulders better than Virginia Tech, to where if they played this game 100 times, the Tigers win 90 of them.
That's my point.
I think that this was just that situation where, I mean, if Virginia Tech is shooting a little better too, not even for both starting and finishing the game, if they shoot better for either one of those stretches, they have a chance to come away with this thing. And I think that LSU played a really good game there. So
100%. But I agree with you. What I'm saying is, I will take the team that's just going to go for it, nut up and shut up, versus the team that's going to sit back, analyze, and have to regroup every 5 seconds. Like, just play. That's why you play the game. You practice to play. You don't practice to overanalyze, sit there and think about it. You play the game. You body them. Kenny, speak to her. Tell her she's a big body being. Let's go.
At the end of the day, it worked out for them. It worked out for them.
It didn't work out for them. They lost.
No, I'm saying it worked out for LSU. Just going, just react, just do. Sure. Worked out in this game. That's not always the case. Sometimes
but you can get better at the X's and O's. You can't get better at heart, bro. You can't teach heart. You can't coach heart.
But I don't think it was a lack of heart that made Virginia Tech lose it. I don't think it was.
I think it was overthinking.
I agree. I think it was overthinking for Kitley and a tough shooting night from the perimeter. If you have either one of those things go better, I mean, it wasn't like the players on the perimeter were out there like, oh, what do we do with the ball? When they got it, they were ready to fire. They knew what they were doing right away. You know what I mean? I just think if you're a national player of the year candidate, if you're an ACC Player of the Year, if you're all those things, you have got to say, hey, it's time for me to go legend. Because, you talked about Caitlin Clark earlier in this episode. They don't beat South Carolina without her putting on a legendary performance.
Yeah, 100%.
Elizabeth Kitley should have said to herself, we will not beat LSU without me. Every time I get it, I need to make a positive impact. Not necessarily I need to score. Not necessarily I need to assist. I need to make a positive impact. And with that being said, I need to already have my move. This is what I'm going to do. This is how she playing me. This is how I'm going to react. So
100%. I 100% agree. Listen, at the end of the day, great season. Nothing to take away. I think those girls did an absolute baller out. They got all of the NC State out the way so they could finally give themselves the ACC championship. So hopefully this is just a new year, new vibe, new energy to remind y'all that the ACC is pretty damn good at women's basketball.
Did it feel good to you to say they got NC State out the way?
I would think that's a compliment to y'all, because if you think about it, like, y'all had the game on lock for a good minute. I thought that was a compliment.
For sure.
Hey, listen, if you take it to be sensitive, that's on you. Hit dog.
Oh, now we taking it to be sensitive. Here we go.
If it don't apply, let it fly. But clearly, it's applying. Tonight
you
is the
named
last
the team. What? Go ahead.
Can I do my read? Because we got to make some money. Okay. The Built March Madness bracket is here. We now have a favorite bar or pub. You can name it. Last chance to do it. When you vote for your favorite bar or pub, you will be entered into a drawing where 50 lucky Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. Not only that, but one Locked On fan will win a 12-month subscription to Built to have Built's best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to your door. Gotta try Built because it's the best protein bar ever. Seriously, they're so amazing. What makes Built bars so good? Well, for starters, they're high in protein and covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. Run to BuiltMarchMadness.com right now to vote for your favorite bar or puff and pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day, so hop in and support your pick. Basketball is just about over, but we have plenty of basketball content to talk about this offseason as the portal will be popping. Where will people find a new home? So we'll make sure we'll keep y'all posted on that throughout the offseason. Don't want to miss that opportunity. But there is a national championship game tonight on the men's side. Miami will not be in it, unfortunately. Florida Atlantic is going to hold it down for the Florida boys. Came up way short in the semifinal game. Not even going to hold you. But I think Jordan Hawkins and the boys, it might be their year. It might be UConn's time to bring it on home once again.
UConn is playing their best basketball when they need to.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, there is nothing else you can say about that other than UConn is playing their best basketball of the year. And I don't think that there's anybody who would argue against that in a meaningful way. And the other part of what got UConn this win is very simply that depth that we talked about all year with UConn, that, hey, you don't know who's going to give it to you. You don't know where it's going to come from. It happened again. Happened again. That's who they've been all year. And, you don't look at UConn and expect to see, 30, 40-point score. You just see everybody chipping in. And of course, like I talked about, the player that I warned everybody about before the game started, I said, hey, if they don't stop Sanogo, it's going to be a problem. 20 and 10 from him. Yeah. The rest of the team showing up, chipping in, and again, this is the time where somebody had to show up for Miami and do something spectacular if they were going to win. And it just wasn't in the cards.
It wasn't their testimony, but I think more so than that, Miami just ran out of a little bit of magic, fairy dust, and gas. Like, I think all of the things kind of just added up to a very long weekend, but not mad at them. They've had a great run, great season. They beat your allegations in terms of making the video, but I guess they would have beat it further had they won the actual ship. I think Coach Larinaga had a really good opportunity to build up a team that some people said was a fluke, couldn't do it again, couldn't make a run again, and he did it twice. It's still not, no moral victories here. We all know it's sports, wins, losses. We definitely want to get the dub. But all things considered, I think Miami can do nothing but keep their head high.
I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. A Final Four run is nothing to scoff at. That's nothing to sit here and hang your head about and be crying and throwing up. At the end of the day, you were that close. but that means that y'all can get back there.
Yeah.
You're building upon what you did. Last year was the Elite Eight. This year is Final Four.
Yeah. There we go. We go. Listen, it's right there for you. I will say the UConn team reminds me of the 2009 North Carolina team, to where it was not even close for a lot of jokers in terms of point differentials and how they dominated. And I think it's going to be that same way for San Diego State and UConn. What?
Oh, nothing. I just there were so
and I definitely said that FAU is going to be representing for Florida, and that's a misspeak because they're not even in this bad boy. It's San Diego State, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why didn't you correct me?
Listen, I'll let you cook. When I correct you any other time, you know what? Never mind. We ain't even gonna go there today.
Long story short, bro. Get that hate out your heart. You gonna have me talking to the viewers and telling them about one team and it's completely the wrong team. So now you got people out here being like, does she know what she's talking about? I didn't. Because honestly, once the ACC is out of it, I'm out of it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the nerve of you for having to misspeak, like, you know how reliable everybody is at their jobs. Nobody ever messes up anything except us. With that being said, again, this is something to be excited about, all that good stuff. This UConn team has been dominant. Like I said, they're playing their best ball when they absolutely need to. And I said that the only chance that Miami had was to keep it really close.
Yeah.
And then at the end, because UConn, all the games that they've lost this year have been close. Like that's where Miami could have hung their hat, because they've been really good in close games. But the reality is, it just didn't work out.
Game up a little short. When it's all said and done, you look back at men's basketball this season, Miami certainly was a team that you favored. Pitt could have been there, shown some flashes. Duke had, a little run towards in, obviously being regular season or conference champion, Virginia, same basketball style. Eventually, something's going to change. Either it's going to be Tony Bennett who changes, or the style of play is going to have to shift just a tad bit. Like, it can't keep being the same old school 1945 style. And North Carolina, you just throw your hands up in the air because they only got 5 people on the team right now. So we're going to do.
I don't think that UVA has to change their style. I think that they just need players that can execute what needs to be done. And I know what you're thinking. What do you mean they need players that can execute what needs to be done? Kihei Clark, for all that he is and all the great things that he did for that program, all-time leader in assists, again, his last cut in a Virginia jersey is, oh my God, I don't think he meant to do that.
Yeah.
That was his last cut in a Virginia uniform. So, I mean, at the end of the day, and if you say, well, Virginia gets past that game, what happens for the rest? Who knows? But at the end of the day, it's about having players that can execute. It's never about your X's and your O's. It's about your Larrys and your Joes.
Well, they got some portal party news, so they're going to need a couple Joes.
They're going to need some Joes. They're going to need some Joes. But I will tell you this. One area where Coach Bennett does need to adapt, not so much in his style in terms of on the court, his ability to or the intentionality to go get players out the portal, something that needs to happen, something that needs to pick up, because, I mean, that's just the reality of today's ball game. If you're not willing to meaningfully get in the portal, I mean, for real, be in there, you might have some problems, And honestly, I think he's done a decent job with Jaden Gardner and all those, that type of player, but you got to get in there again. You got to get in there, get you some top players.
Yeah, and beyond just, assistant coaches at this point who recruit, at the high school level, all the things, you damn near need a scout now. Like, it's very much free agency. You very, very much need somebody who's like planting seeds of, oh, well, if you're not having a good time here, like maybe you come over to death row type energy, all the things, because we clearly see you're not going to go to any bad school academically in the ACC. That's bar none. Right. But it's trying to find the right fit for the style of play, getting you to the pro level, all of the fun things. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up one of my favorite teams to watch this season, NC State. Very exciting times. I think the return of DJ Burns will be interesting. Maybe he'll have Dontrez Styles as a teammate. That'll be fun. Saw them at Dreamville. That was a good time. Did not see Dontrez and DJ together. Let's make for the record before anybody hits us up and lets us, start some rumors. Just saying.
I did see 2 people at Dreamville that would start another rumor that may destroy a team, but we're not going to go there today.
Please, my brother in Christ.
I'm sorry. I see nobody. I saw nothing. I saw nothing. But no, seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at NC State season, it's super exciting. It's great things happening in Raleigh. And I'll tell you this: there are a very loud minority, very slim minority that do not really deserve this much attention, calling for Keys to be fired because I don't know what they were expecting, but I mean, hey, a team going from a school record in losses to a NCAA tourney appearance. I mean, that's what you want generally. I don't know what type of worst to first y'all thought was going to happen here, but
Yeah,
more power to it. But the majority of NC State fans are excited. There is now enthusiasm and interest in basketball, and at the end of the day, that's really all you can ask for if you're Coach Keats, because in the beginning of the year, it was rough. I mean, you could go to an NC State game you go to PNC in the middle of an NC State game and go ahead and get you a seat where you could hear what the players were saying. And later and later in the season, as they won more and more, as they did better and better, it just got, the interest here in Raleigh picked up, and everybody, the entire city rallied behind this team. So
yeah, 1,000% agree. And then, of course, Georgia Tech, who will be the new coach going into that bad boy, who will be hired, solidified, and ready to go. Why are you laughing?
My boy Pastner. I hate it had to be him.
Hate it had to be him. Great for an interview, though.
I love me some Pastner. I love me some Pastner. I'm so sad to see him go.
Yeah, 100%. Will Duke make another surprise run next season? Will Filipowski come back? Stick around on this episode of... No, I'm just kidding. I mean, you don't think he's coming back?
I don't think he should, but I mean, he can. I
think he'll get nice NIL.
I don't think there's a lot of money to be gained by coming back. You know what I mean? Like, I think that at the end of the day, these players should always do what is best for their lives and all that. And you go to college, why? To get a good job. You get a good job, why? So you can make good money. You get good money, why? So you can live a good life. What better life is there than as an NBA player? And I don't think that he's one of those guys that I'm like, hey, Filipowski, buddy, get ready to learn some Mandarin. Get ready to learn some Italian. Get ready to learn some Portuguese, because you're not going to be in the NBA. I think he's got a good shot of sticking around in the league.
That's really terrible. I'm going to be nice today and move on to our other parts of sports that we cover here on Locked On ACC. Make sure you check us out each and every day. If you want a final recap after the national championship game, make sure you hit up Locked On College Basketball Podcast, where those guys are always giving you the best from across the country. Now, when it comes to what's next for Locked On ACC, clearly, football season is right underway. They got spring games happening around the 15th, so there'll be lots of coverage. You also got the NFL draft on its way. We know there have been some stars throughout 2022 season, 2023 season that we're looking forward to playing and being really talented at the next level. So we'll talk about them, and we got to get you ready for the fall. I'm excited about the fall. I think there are good things happening for the ACC. Clemson, I'm not even going to hold and waste my breath with y'all being underdogs or anything like that. I'm excited to just lay it bare, lay it plain. Drake May's return. We already have the Clemson and Carolina coverage overview, so make sure you check that out on our YouTube website. But it's not just that. We got to give the whole kit and caboodle some love. So we got to talk about Louisville. We got to talk about Georgia Tech and, coach returning. We got to talk about our guys in Syracuse, and could this be Baber's last go? There's a lot to discuss when it comes to football.
Well, absolutely. There's a ton of football to discuss, but we don't want to leave nobody out here on Locked On ACC. And we are one of the best conferences in the nation in terms of baseball. And we going to have some folks on during the summer, during this spring, to talk some baseball. We're going to have some folks on every now and then to get into some baseball. I know it's not going to be every day, Candace. I know you shake your head. I'm just,
there's a reason
we got to talk a little bit of baseball.
There's a reason we do pre-production shows. There's a reason that we go.
We got to get on the diamond a little bit. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do it today. I'm just saying in the future, we're going to get on the diamond a little bit. You know what I mean? Locked On ACC listeners, we going to help y'all out with some baseball. Because, again, one of the best conferences in the nation. But absolutely, talking about doing some...
Baseball is so boring. Let's just lay it bare.
I mean, have you seen what the ACC is doing?
I understand. I get it. But if that's the point, we might as well talk about basket weaving, because, that's just what it is to me.
Well, if they made basket weaving a varsity sport and folks was getting full scholarships to do it, then by all means, if ACC basket weaving was elite, let's talk about them weavers up there.
Are we going to talk about lacrosse too? Because, they're pretty much an elite system over here with the conference.
Hey, if you want to get into it, by all means, let's bring the guest on and get into it. I'm just
Talk
saying
about
I
it,
didn't
man.
want.
Just going off the rails. This is,
Now I'm
okay.
going off the
I
rails.
got
Now
you.
I'm going off the rails, bringing in a little bit of baseball. But absolutely, we've got to talk. I'm going to tell you, there are some very interesting position battles and quarterback battles that are going to be kind of brought to light a little bit here with all these spring games coming up. And there's a lot of questions about who's going to be QB1, who's going to be QB1. Let me tell y'all this. Nothing matters until that actual game time starts in the fall. None of it. I don't care who you see trot out as the QB1 with the team with all the stars. I don't care. That means that player has an advantage or a lead right now. How many times have we seen somebody start the spring game and then all of a sudden when fall rolls around, that other guy's breathing down their neck. They have a couple bad quarters. DJU, Kelly Bryant. That, all of a sudden, that other guy is in that seat. And it's not just those guys. It's not just Clemson. We've seen this with 1,000 different teams, 1,000 different times. But I'm just saying, it's exciting to see all the things that we're going to see in these spring games.
100% agree. Well, guys, it's just leaving a lot of meat on the bone, getting you excited for what will be a very exciting, how many times can I use that word in 3 sentences, season. And I look forward to Kitten running point on those baseball shows. And we're going to have all of the coverage as we get through off season for us. As we shift, off season will mean 3 episodes a week for you. But once we get into that, we'll make sure that you are fully covered and ready to go and fully aware of when that goes down. So you don't want to miss those opportunities. Look forward to talking to you all soon. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, until next time.